feel the spirit, it just flows out of me.
Now, how embarrassing is this?
Anybody play basketball? I'm not Jehovah's Witness, okay?
Hallelujah! Put your hands together. Have you know that God will answer when you call him? You just need to open up your mouth.
A secure place for your family. You can get all this and more at Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
The Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services under the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection calls on all workers to stay safe and adhere to the following basic safety and health at work measures. Observe social distancing. Clean hands frequently with soap and clean water or alcohol-based sanitizers. Wear personal protective equipment like gloves if you are in a frontline job as directed by your employer. Clean and disinfect workplaces. Cover nose and mouth when coughing and sneezing with tissue or flexed elbow. Wear masks at all workplaces and all other public places. Stay at home. Follow all directives by the government. Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services, your trusted partner in ensuring healthy workers in a safe work environment.
Legendary. For my bed is final. We see baby baba now. I get wear designer. Everything where I give I'm final.
Hello mom. Hey Carol mom.
Carol, come here. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How's dad?
Your dad is fine. Are you me? You have not sent me the money you promised.
I'm so sorry mama. I'm gonna do it today.
Send it now before you forget again.
Okay, no problems. I'll do it now. Check.
Are you sure?
Yes, so and I also paid for your cable and I'm sending you credit for this long call you're making right now.
Thank you, my son. God bless you.
Alright mama, I love you so much, yeah? I'll speak to you later.
Legendary beat. Legendary beat. Legendary beat. Legendary beat. I get girl from my yard, we get big back away, they make me feel amazing, girl. I get one way they give.
I will never forget the day all our lives changed forever.
It's now a reality we will all face. In the midst of a global, unprecedented crisis.
But even in the face of this challenge, during these extraordinary times, we've chosen to do more than ever. What we do is not about us. It's about the people who rely on us every day. It's about keeping customers safe while giving them everything they need most at a price they can afford. Because that is our duty. We are always here for you, and we shall proudly serve every day.
Education is key.
Education.
To develop a nation.
Education.
Giving every learner the material for learning. KICD, every stage from ECD.
KICD.
Shule ya msingi na ya upili.
KICD.
Mahitaji maalum na waalimu.
KICD.
For your curriculum. KICD.
The Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, nurturing every learner's potential.
This is NTV.
It's a couple of minutes to the top of the hour, but you're just in time for NTV Tonight. Now, just quick look at the global statistics and the numbers as it stands. And these are from the Worldometer that tracks the global infections and the fatalities from the COVID-19 pandemic. And globally, the number has gone over 4.3 million patients who have been infected. And out of that, at least over 250,000 people have been killed by this pandemic globally. Now on to Africa, and this is just at least over 69,000 infections in the continent so far with the testing that has been going on from the different countries, and with over 2,300 deaths in the continent. And yes, to the other continent or the constituency that has been affected most, a republic that has been affected most by the COVID-19, that is the United States of America. This particular one having seen over 82,000 deaths in that particular country. And yes, we're looking at that number going up with the, of course, the country trying to do everything it can. And we'll be looking at the Kenyan numbers in a moment. First, the other stories to expect. Tonight, the Speaker has spoken.
Senator Samuel Bogisho, Senate Majority Leader. D. Elect Senator Irungu Kangata, Senate Majority Whip.
The Jubilee Party wars go to court amid allegations of disloyalty and dishonesty.
Mr. Speaker, I want to tell the President, stop lying to the Senate. You told us you will give us oversight fund.
If you don't believe in that side of the House, you don't believe in the agenda of that side of the House, then it's really the honor is up to you. It's on you.
Also tonight, East Africa Community presidents want borders to stay open.
Unless we work together, we are not going to be able to solve this problem.
After several false starts, some of the region's heads of state finally meet to address the COVID-19 war. Plus, tracking the virus amid porous borders and jitters around them.
Wakati huo amenipima mimi, ametumia mkasi ule mmoja kukatia ile kipimo yangu. Bado haja sanitize ule mkasi, wala yeye mwenyewe hajapaka sanitizer mikononi, anakuja kumshika mwingine. On the border of distrust. And
hajalala mahali anastahili kulala.
They go against odds to make life even more bearable for you. Celebrating the nurses.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai.
Yes, our sign language interpreter is David Agondo, and yes, we tip our hats to the nurses around the country who are dealing and fighting with the pandemic. And this is what they're faced with so far with the latest. We have at least 715 patients who have been infected, and this is from the 978 samples that have been tested, with 15 confirmations being the latest. Now, onto the breakdown within the country, and this actually looks at the nationality. 14 Kenyans of the new infections and 1 Rwandese, and the age range there from 1 year, 8 months to 62 years, and 10 males and 5 females in the latest people that have been found positive with the coronavirus. And to how it has been distributed to the counties, and Mombasa has 7 cases from today's update, and Migori with 3, Wajir 2, Nairobi, Machakos, Kiambu, each with 1 patient from there. And with the recoveries, good news today, 8 new recoveries with those who have been discharged from hospital, 259. And unfortunately, we lost 3 other Kenyans from Mombasa, and that brings to the total fatality locally to 36. And those who are undergoing treatment so far, 420. Condolences to those who've lost their loved ones so far, and we definitely hope and wish for quick recovery to those who are still undergoing treatment. And even as we face this particular pandemic in the country, there has to be a unified front in this particular fight. Continued free movement of goods and management of cross-border spread of COVID-19 were top agenda in the meeting of the East African Community Heads of State and Government. The leaders held a virtual summit as the numbers of those infected with COVID-19, more so truck drivers, continued to increase. The heads of state agreed to direct their relevant agencies to enhance cooperation in border control and management with the view of ensuring safety along common borders and guarantee the movement of cargo.
Leaders across East Africa met via video conferencing for a meeting aimed at forging a regional plan to combat the coronavirus pandemic. In the virtual meeting convened by President Paul Kagame of Rwanda, the current EAC chairperson, cross-border spreading of the coronavirus emerged as a concern in the region.
We are continuing.
The leaders, who included President Uhuru Kenyatta, Yoweri Museveni and Salva Kiir of South Sudan, acknowledged the challenge posed by cross-border trade in the fight against coronavirus, especially the emergence of truck drivers as a high-risk carrier population. This comes as the Kenyan government began mass testing of truck drivers after some of them tested positive for the virus. On Monday, 9 of the cases that were reported in Kajiado County were from truck drivers who came in from neighboring Tanzania, which borders the county to the south.
Where drivers, before commencing on travel, would be tested 24 hours before departure, and they would be tested every 2 weeks to ensure that they are not transmitting this virus, and also for them to stop at designated places, and furthermore for us to limit to a maximum of 2 the number of operators who would operate a vehicle, 2 drivers per truck.
Yesterday, 5 more truck drivers, among them Kenyans, tested positive for the coronavirus in Uganda, bringing the country's tally to 121. The confirmed cases are among 1,498 truckers whose samples were tested on Sunday in Uganda.
We would want to see our drivers getting a kind of pass, like the old yellow fever pass. Unless we work together, we are not going to be able to solve this problem, because our borders are porous, our people are one, and therefore we must have a common position if we are to actually defeat this virus.
Zambia has already temporarily closed its border with Tanzania after experiencing the highest spike of coronavirus infections last week.
There shall be no traffic in or out of Nakonde to facilitate the implementation of targeted interventions.
In Tanzania, meanwhile, 506 cases have been registered, with 21 deaths and 183 people having regained health. However, in today's meeting, Tanzania and Burundi were not represented.
Heads of state to meet and discuss and give direction and in a coordinated way. That did not happen because of the 3 member states whose leaders were not able to connect with all of us, the rest, for the summit. But the effort was made, and we even made an effort to try and have another one at another date.
The EAC heads of state have agreed to roll out border screening and testing measures, especially for truck drivers that do not compromise cross-border movement of goods. Rozongoi, NTV.
Meanwhile, Namanga residents are demanding the immediate closure of the border over fears of COVID-19 spread by truck drivers waiting for clearance at the busy crossing section. A section of truck drivers from Tanzania have raised concern over the testing process by Kenyan authorities. NTV's Seth Olale is just back from the border and filed this report.
36-year-old Francis Mukane, a Tanzanian truck driver who ferries motor vehicle tires from Dar es Salaam to Nairobi, is among 126 cross-border transporters at the Namanga one-stop border crossing who tested negative for COVID-19. However, 5 of his colleagues tested positive and were sent back to their country on Monday. 9 Kenyans also contracted the virus here in Namanga and are currently getting medical care at Kenyatta University Referral Hospital. Of significant concern to Mukane and 126 drivers who have been camping here is the procedure for testing COVID-19 by port health workers.
Madereva wengi wanachukua muda mrefu kuweza kuishi hapa. Sasa wanaishi hapa vipi? Kwa sababu kwa asilimia kubwa wanaishi guest. Je, guest kuko salama? Hakupo salama. Kuna hatihati kubwa kwanza ya ugonjwa kuweza kutambaa zaidi kwa kuwa bado tunaendelea kutumia mazingira si mazingira salama ambayo tunayaishi.
Tanzanians who have been tested across the border and come with a COVID negative certificate, we will allow them to proceed, but we'll also be able to pick our own sample, take their details, run our own test and be able to verify that.
Hata wale wanaotupima pia wawe makini na hiyo kitu, kwa sababu hawezi kunipima mimi wakati huo amenipima mimi, ametumia mkasi ule mmoja kukatia ile kipimo yangu, bado haja sanitize ule mkasi, wala ye mwenyewe hajapaka sanitizer mikononi, anakuja kumshika mwingine anampima. Hilo nalo bado ni changamoto.
And remember, Kenya, Ethiopia were some of the first frontline countries to be trained on testing for COVID-19. We are super confident about our results. Our laboratories have been validated by the World Health Organization, Africa CDC, US CDC, and we are confident of the results we issue.
Lawrence Okello is another truck driver who transports gas from Tanga to Nairobi. He says they have been forced to incur extra costs for spending additional days at the border point.
Ukionekana wewe ni dereva, unashukiwa hata ukienda ile sehemu ya kulala. Ile sehemu tunakoenda kulala unakuta pengine haujui ni nani aliyokolala pale, kama alikuwa amepata maambukizi ama wewe mwenyewe haujulikani kama ndio una maambukizi. Unaenda pale unalala, asubuhi unaamka sababu hauruhusiwi kulala kwenye gari.
Namanga residents now want the border shut. They say unrestricted interaction of drivers with locals will increase the number of infections at the busy crossing point.
Sababu hata hii yetu ni hatari, kwa sababu kuna watu wanapitia kichochoro, wengine wanapitia nyuma ya mlima na wengine wanaingia kwa njia ya mikato. Kwa hivyo kuna hapa ndio itakuwa zaidi hata isili.
We will not close for goods and services, right? Because we must keep the economy running.
Health authorities now say they will roll out mass testing for all residents in the area through a mobile lab. Of all the 5 Kenya-Tanzania border crossings that include Lungalunga, Namanga, Oloitoktok and Sirare, Namanga is the busiest, having a record 1,300 crossings in a particular day. Now, port authorities are going to replicate the exercise being done here to other border crossings. Seth Olale, NTV, Namanga, Kajiado County.
From that border point to the Senate, and it is now a done deal. Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen is no longer the Jubilee Senate Majority Leader and will have to settle for the back bench and watch someone else perform duties he has for the last 2 years. Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka confirmed the changes, thus dimming the hopes carried by Murkomen and Nakuru Senator Susan Kihika, who had exuded confidence in the Speaker being on their side. And as NTV's senior political affairs reporter Kennedy Moreithi reports, Murkomen's parting shot to the president immediately after his ouster, Uhuru is a conman.
I'm satisfied with the changes that the changes were made in accordance with Senate Standing Order 19(1), 2, 3, 40, 5 and 7 and meets the threshold required under Standing Order 19(5), there having been a majority of votes.
And just like that, Kipchumba Murkomen was no longer the majority leader of the Senate. He, together with Nakuru Senator Susan Kihika, will now have to abandon their preserved seats in the chamber and scramble for sitting positions.
When you also have another list signed by 21 people.
Their former seats are now preserved for Jubilee's new choices.
I wish to communicate to the House that the majority has effected changes which shall now take effect as follows. Senate Majority Leader, Senator Samuel Bogisho. 2, Senate Minority Whip, Senator Irungu Kang'ata. 3, Senator Majority Whip, Senator Haji Farhia.
But as he read the short communication in the dying minutes of the morning session, one could tell the Speaker was breathing heavily, seemingly sure the message he was delivering will not sit well with a section of the senators.
Mr. Speaker, this is not your decision. you made this decision under duress and undue influence.
It is understood Speaker Lusaka was between a rock and a hard place as he delivered the ruling on the floor of the House, being torn between standing with Deputy President William Ruto, who played a key role in his election as Speaker after failing to clinch the Bungoma gubernatorial seat, and face an impeachment if he ruled otherwise.
If 20 senators sent a letter to your office this morning urging you and reminding you that they were never party to these changes, then where did these numbers that are allegedly being used to make these changes come to?
However, minutes of the State House meeting signed by President Uhuru Kenyatta and the new Majority Whip Irungu Kang'ata have surfaced with names of 20 senators who attended. According to minutes of the meeting that took 45 minutes, the main business was removal of Senators Murkomen and Kihika and replacing them with Pogisio and Irungu Kang'ata before adjourning and agreeing to meet later for other matters.
If the greatest achievement of the President of Kenya is to demonstrate to the people of this country that I have removed my majority leader, I'm a big man. Mr. Speaker, the President is already a big man. I am just but a son of a squatter, born and brought up in Embobut. To be a subject of his discussion over and over again, I want to say, Mr. President, now therefore deliver for the people of Kenya. Murkomen is out of the way.
In an effort to salvage their positions as promised, the two, Murkomen and Kihika, rushed to court to obtain orders barring their removal as the first course of action in a series planned.
Being a Jubilee member, Mr. Speaker, I want to say we have not exhausted the matter. We shall continue fighting for the same until the right journal is followed and all the means are exhausted democratically, Mr. Speaker.
This is after a ruling from the Political Parties Tribunal suspended the move to effect a coalition agreement between Jubilee Party and KANU, which was hence given the majority leader position.
I am not worried and I have no problem not being the majority leader. What was only being defended on this side was the fact that we must follow the rules.
But in the history of this country, to be remembered, there was one time where somebody given the responsibility to manage the house sat down and midwifed the death of democracy.
In the afternoon session, Pogisio took his position on the majority leader seat as others, including those from the NASA coalition, congratulating him and wishing him well.
The only people that are in my mind at the moment, Mr. Speaker, is not me. It's my staff. And I know they've done tremendous job. They have loans. They have commitments to their families. This afternoon, they are going to lose their jobs by a stroke of a political conmanship, Mr. Speaker.
Kennedy Muredi, NTV.
Well, the newly elected Senate Majority Leader Samuel Pogisio is expressing optimism on uniting an already divided House following the ouster of Senator Kipchumba Murkomen and Senator Susan Kihika as Majority Whip. He spoke to NTV's Dabalaine, admittedly acknowledging, however, the task ahead is Herculean.
It's an Herculean task right now to unite the House. What is your game plan?
This has been quite divisive. And well, you know what it means, Ibal, is that what it means is that you have a situation where there are rankles within the party, and now it's my duty to try and bring people together and try and ask my colleagues that what has gone is gone. Everybody has a chance. The team that was there before had their time. The way they came to office was about the same. We all went into State House one day for a parliamentary group meeting, and they came out as leaders. Today we've gone to the same meeting, we come out as leaders. And so we should just think to thank those who made us leaders, but at the same time, let's keep the eye on the ball.
Yeah, but yours also is a controversial election right now. You know, it was not a unanimous call from either camp of Jubilee. We know the Kieleweke and the Tanga as it is right now. 22 senators, they didn't show up. So how did it pan out?
First of all, it's not true that 22 senators did not show up. There are 38 senators in the coalition, and if 20 were with us, that means 18 did not attend the meeting. And without going into details, the so-called 22 names and 22 signatures don't exist. Because even up to today, some of those senators are still away in their counties, far away from Nairobi. And if you purport to have signatures from them, I mean, then you have questions arising on how did you get signatures? Was it by flight? or somehow through some technology.
Well, this is happening under the umbrella now of a new coalition between KANU and the Jubilee, where also we have these frustrated legislators who they've delivered a letter to the political party registrar trying to make or assuring that or expressing their frustration that this particular coalition is null and void.
When the situation fits you, then it's okay. When it doesn't fit you, you want to raise the issue of saying this is not in the rightful coalition. The coalition is in practice. It is how you have it. From the beginnings, we have decided we're going to work together. We have voted together. If you look at the voting list in the House for all these bills and so on, we vote together. And if you look at the Senate's voting system and voting lists, KANU and Charles Kibiru and others and PDR are voting with and within the coalition, which is Jubilee. So at what point then did you decide it was illegal for us to be part of this coalition? And so on that day, the coalition met. And this is not the first PG. Even in the PG where Murkomen and Susan Keik and others became leaders, KANU attended, PDR attended, these so-called independents attended. Why? Because we are not joining the party called Jubilee Party. We are forming a coalition. And that's why it's called a coalition. If you have something separate of your internal party wrangles, it's a different thing.
So is this coalition a bellwether of what will be in 2022 or what will become in 2022?
Well, it cannot be. Ideally, the coalition should be together. But if you look at the way the things were running in our coalition, in this Senate, and that's why it becomes necessary sometimes to change leadership. The leadership in the Senate was beginning to act like it was speaking from another direction. It was like now, from the position that I'm in, if I start questioning the same government as if I have no information and yet I'm the leader of government business, then it reaches a point, in my view, when I should be able to say to myself, as Samuel Pogisha, majority leader, this is untenable. I can no longer represent this side of the house. It's very easy. It's your conscience. If you don't believe in that side of the house, you don't believe in the agenda of that side of the house, then it's really the honor is up to you. It's on you. Use now your integrity and leadership and say it's untenable for me.
So who's next on President Kenyatta's chopping board? The National Assembly is the next stop in the titanic battle between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto, with several allies of the DP set to lose their leadership positions. In your Daily Nation tomorrow, read about the well-laid-out plan to vanquish DP Ruto's faction of Jubilee, plus why the prisons are a ticking time bomb for coronavirus infections. Don't miss your copy. With 20 minutes past the hour, NTV Tonight takes our first break. We'll be back with more.
The risk of illness-causing germs is increasing. It is believed that the coronavirus can remain on surfaces in your home for up to 9 days. Touching infected surfaces is one of the ways in which germs spread. Regularly disinfect your floors, countertops, and kitchen surfaces with bleach, and use an effective toilet cleaner inside and outside your toilet bowl. This message is brought to you by Medifacts, Jig, and Harpic.
Kira! Kira? Where are you?
That's why you need the superior protection of Mortein 360-degree reach. Only this has 11 fans which enable it to reach the farthest corners. Mortein, total indoor protection.
Digital disruption, cybersecurity, agile working, big data, artificial intelligence. COVID-19 has pushed stakeholders into rethinking and fast-tracking the role of technology in day-to-day life, from e-learning, e-commerce, e-delivery, e-banking to e-clinics. Innovation has become a matter of survival and not just a goal for the future. On Thursday, 14th May 2020, the Nation Media Group will hold a live virtual Nation Leadership Forum from 7:30 p.m. on NTV. It shall delve into the impact of COVID-19 on the technological transformation of various industries and what this acceleration means to a population that may not have all the tools to benefit from it. Nation Leadership Forum. Engaging society, impacting the nation.
Dettol's main objective is to help children protect themselves from diseases. Do you know how we get illnesses like diarrhea, cough, and cold? No! They are spread through germs on your hands. Your hands collect germs that causes diseases. You pick up germs from any surface, like when you don't wash your hands after going to the toilet, while playing. And then you can get sick because of germs. That's why you need to fight germs to stay healthy by washing your hands regularly with Dettol soap that gives the best germ protection ever against many illness-causing germs.
Wash, wash, wash your hands. What you have to do is bath yourself. Dettol soap every day. Wash, wash, wash your hands. Birthday party. Birthday party. Birthday party. Birthday party. Are we not invited? We have gifts. Malaria. Mommy, pest. Rat.
Or die.
Party.
Compared to ordinary spray, Mortein Dew and Power Guard kills disease-causing pests instantly. Mortein Dew and Power Guard.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white clothes, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile?
All that in one toothpaste?
Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums.
Ah, Colgate Herbal.
Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
You spoke, we listened, and now every weekday at 6:30 a.m. you can join Evelyn and Peter to get your daily fitness fix. Some body exercises and some dancing, while at each you could even lose some weight. Get moving, we guarantee you will love it.
Nyaji wa Kenya, hii ni public service announcement kuhusu coronavirus.
The Ministry of Health advises all returnees from abroad to self-quarantine for at least 14 days, whether they feel well or unwell.
Wash your hands regularly following the 8 steps of hand washing. Wet hands with warm water. Apply a small amount of soap. Rub palms together. Rub fingers and thumbs and the bits in between. Rub nails on palms. Rub the back of each hand. Rinse with clean running water and dry thoroughly with a clean dry towel.
Furthermore, it is advisable to cover your mouth and nose adequately when sneezing or coughing and immediately dispose of the tissue in a dustbin. Please do not use handkerchiefs if you can avoid it. If disposable tissue is unavailable, cough into your elbow. Try and avoid close contact with anyone showing signs of respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing.
Before you share any coronavirus information on social media, please verify it with Ministry of Health to avoid panic and alarm among your fellow Kenyans.
Megan, come on, don't. Guys, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. John, the folks around here just don't understand your method of celebrating.
You really embarrassed the kids this time.
Are you embarrassed?
I can't help it. I mean, when I feel the spirit, it just flows out of me.
Now, how embarrassing is this?
Anybody play basketball? I'm not Jehovah's Witness, okay?
Hallelujah! Put your hands together. Have you know that God will answer when you call him? You just need to open up your mouth.
A secure place for your family. You can get all this and more at Amani Ridge, the place of peace.
Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white clothes, towels and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
Thank you for staying with us. Kenyans who are still abroad have opted to stay there because they want to continue with their lives in the various countries when the pandemic is over. This is according to Foreign Affairs Principal Secretary Macharia Kamau, whose statement has been called to question. Helen Aura reports on this, as well as a current phase in the war against COVID-19 in prisons.
The increase in the number of people who have contracted COVID-19 continues to raise concern, especially having made its way into areas that the state had initially insisted it was doing its best to insulate. The prisons are among the said areas, with reports of tension in the facilities being cited. The war to keep the pandemic out of there was lost, so now the state says it is working on how to manage it.
We have provided prisons department, wherever they have health facilities, we have provided them with materials, PPEs, sampling material, and they have been equally trained in sampling some of these inmates. Together with the counties, of course, where these prisons are placed, we are collaborating both with the prisons department and with the county authorities to be able to monitor and test these prisoners.
Away from those who have been locked in to those who have been locked out of the country. Some Kenyans who are abroad have had their return facilitated, but more are still away from home.
Many have expressed their desire to come back home, but not all have been able to make it back to be with their loved ones.
We have facilitated, as has already been explained, 700. And we do expect a few more to trickle in over the next few weeks as the time goes by, as we find means and ways of facilitating their return.
The ministry also claims that some Kenyans have opted to remain in the countries they are in rather than to return home. Doubts have been raised over this claim, as some of those who are still out of the country are not there entirely out of choice but circumstances, as they say they cannot afford to pay for their flights back home. Helen Aura, NTV.
As the world marks the International Nurses Day, the medics still feel that their efforts have not been appreciated enough. This, they say, is evidenced by the sector still admitting more quacks who have ultimately turned the noble profession of selflessness into a business at the expense of service to the people. And to be caught up with Rose Mututa, a nurse who serves in the Kangaroon mother care space, and she shares her story.
My name is Rosemary Mututa. I work at Bungoma County Referral Hospital. I've been working since 1984 up to date. The year 84, I worked in a mission hospital, that is Masai Mission Hospital. Then from there, I went to Machakos General Hospital from 1985 to 2005. So that is 20 good years in one station. Then from there, I moved to Embu, where I worked for 9 years before coming now to Bungoma in the year 2014.
Akamuliwe ndiye aweze kuwa sawa. Mama umemkamulia? Ngapi?
A few years now to retirement. Nursing is full of challenges. For me, I say I joined nursing because it was a calling. My passion for nursing started way back when I was still a baby or a child, because as I was growing up, my mother used to be a teacher, but anytime we fell sick, she will give us medication, and when you vomited, she will, the next minute a stove is lit, needles and the syringes are boiled, and you are given an injection. As much as she was just a teacher, she had that knowledge, and from there I started developing the passion to become a nurse. So when I finished Form 4, I did my interview to join nursing, and I was lucky to be selected to become a nurse. That was way back in 1980. So I joined nursing in 1980 and since then I've never looked back.
Mtoto wako ako mzuri kilo 2.5. I
have been in the profession for quite a good number of years, and what I enjoy most is like right now I am in a newborn unit where I deal with babies. The good thing with babies is that they don't pretend like adults we do, because when a child is sick, the minute you do your intervention, you find the child is good to go.
Tuone vile daktari atasema.
There are babies who are born too early or too soon. Maybe you are getting a baby who is born just weighing 500 grams. You stay with this baby, you nurse this baby. At some point we start now the kangaroo mother care. And then later on when you see this baby now, you are discharging the baby at 2,000 grams, that is 2 kilos. The mother feels very, very happy, because initially when we look at this, the very tiny babies, the preterm babies, most of them used to lose their lives because of hypothermia. But with the introduction of kangaroo mother care, we are nursing these babies on skin to skin with the mother. The mother becomes an incubator, and that has saved a lot of lives.
Veronica, ako sawa? Good. Huyu kwanza amesikia joto ya mama ako vizuri sana.
My fellow nurses, that today being our day, if you joined nursing as a career, think again. Nursing is supposed to be a calling. Can you give your services knowing very well you are serving God? Because in serving humanity, we are serving God. Our reward is in heaven.
Rose Mututa and the other nurses in the country, the calling was made, or the call was made, and you picked up. And thank you for serving the nation. Asanteni sana. To help salvage the gains that had been made in the education sector before coronavirus pandemic hit, the Ministry of Education has appointed a 9-member committee. The Kenya Institute for Curriculum Development chairperson, Dr. Sarah Ruto, will chair the COVID-19 Education Response Committee, charged with exploring the best possible strategies of restoring normalcy in education. The committee's secretariat, located at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, forgive me, mwalimu wangu, will be tasked with, among other things, advising the Education CS on the reopening of education institutions. The committee will also review the school's calendar as part of the COVID-19 post-recovery strategy. Beg your pardon, my teacher might be watching this and wanting to cry, and advise on ways of onboarding students and pupils when the schools reopen. The education experts will document COVID-19 related matters and lessons for future preparedness, with the aim of advising on health and safety measures to be put in place for entire school community. Those institutions adversely affected by the pandemic are to also be identified and appropriate mitigation and recovery measures given. To the chairperson, Sarah Ruto, and the team, all the best in your work. We take another break here. Business News will be up next.
Melissa?
Mom, it's Dad's birthday today. I'm giving him a party just like he gives me.
Nothing makes a mother more proud than seeing her child growing up. But I know that as she learns to care for others, she'll face even more germs and the risk of illnesses.
That's why you need strong Dettol protection. Just 1 cup of Dettol protects your home and family from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Can you tell Kinyanju to come to my office immediately? Good morning. Good morning. His name is Penny. Unapanguza floor. Hiyo dust uache hapa kwa meza. Clean up. Kinyanju, this is a problem, eh? Next time uende ununue selector yako, utengeneze sandwich zako, uachane na sandwich za boss.
Selector, the difference is in the taste.
Hii uende uweke kwa ile githeri yako
Welcome to the conferencing service.
Emma, carry on, Ken. First quarter sales, they're up 90%. Very good, very good. We're looking at a 55 billion shilling profit by the end of the financial year.
Now we are talking. Here we talk billions. Very good. I gotta go. Wacha niendelee na kazi.
A person has left the conference.
Niko nyumbani. Downloads are very fast. Streaming, eco. And I'm just working from here. Stay connected and work from the convenience of wherever you are. Fiber to the home.
Working from home? No problem. Fiber Home has you covered with the fastest and most reliable internet speeds. Get connected today. Kazi lazima iendelee.
Selena! Toto, where is mommy?
Today's a toilet day.
What? Oh.
Selena!
Toilet day?
Tomorrow we're hosting a party and it's a matter of my reputation.
It's a toilet, not a white shirt. Even if you spend your entire day cleaning with bleach and detergent, it still won't be party ready.
Impossible.
Challenge. Harpic 10X. Even if you use bleach and detergent 10 times, they won't give you the same sparkling clean toilet that Harpic 10X will give you.
Wow!
Harpic 10X. Harpic, Kenya's #1 toilet cleaner.
NTV Business News in association with KCB Internet Banking.
Welcome to the business. And the tourism sector continues taking a beating from the coronavirus pandemic, with hotels and businesses in the sector absorbing half of the loans disbursed by banks last month to mitigate against the effects of COVID-19. In a report presented before the Senate Ad Hoc Committee, the Central Bank of Kenya revealed that cash-starved Kenyans are scrambling for loans to keep their businesses afloat amid the pandemic. Lilian Kiarie reports.
The Central Bank of Kenya has revealed that in April, 17.59 billion shillings was released from banks' cash reserves. The amount was set to act as rescue loans for businesses which are getting a beating from COVID-19 pandemic. This amount accounts to 50% of the 35.2 billion shillings, which was spread by the 1% reduction in the cash reserve ratio. With measures such as travel bans, lockdowns, and curbing on inter-county movement affected, hotels and businesses in the hospitality sector have gotten a serious beating. The report reveals that businesses in the tourism sector borrowed 8.02 billion shillings in April. The agricultural sector came second with loans amounting 2.94 billion shillings, while the real estate sector came third, taking loans amounting to 2.1 billion shillings. The CBK report presented before the Senate Ad Hoc Committee also reveals that traders borrowed 1.8 billion shillings to boost their businesses, while those in the transport and communication sector borrowed 688.4 million shillings from the kitty. Kenyans laid off or reporting pay cuts and unpaid leave also borrowed 593.7 million shillings. 50% of these cash reserves have been depleted in just 1 month. This has seen the CBK direct banks to submit a list entailing the borrower's name, the economic sector they are involved in, and the amounts and reasons for borrowing. The move is said to curb banks from using the reserves to lend to profitable entities or to the government through purchase of treasury bills and bonds. Lilian Kiarie, NTV.
Kenya's debt profile has been elevated from moderate to high by the International Monetary Fund due to the impact of the COVID-19 on the economy. This follows the disbursement of 78.7 billion shillings last week as a concessional loan to the country. The funds are set to be used in helping Kenya's economy cope with the shock brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. In an assessment on its website, the lender indicated that it agrees with the government's fiscal and monetary response to the pandemic, allowing for its increased spending. The increased risk of debt distress now indicates that the country's debt sustainability has steadily risen, thus increasing debt distress. Putting a plate of ugali on the table is said to be more expensive following a pronouncement by millers that they will not be importing maize before the end of this month. The Cereal Millers Association says that following a decline by Treasury to extend the duration for millers to import maize at a lower tariff, a one-month void of stocks is set to be created. In a letter to the Agriculture CES, Peter Munya, the association's chairman, Mohammed Islam, says that millers sought an extension of the window, allowing them to import at the lower tariff, but have been unsuccessful. Islam says that cancelling of a contract which was set to see imports from Mexico come into the country has already cost the parties involved over 100 million shillings. Oil marketers on their part in the country are calling upon the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, to come up with a mechanism to cushion them from the drop in demand for petrol and diesel. In a letter directed to Petroleum CS John Muñez, the marketers are seeking that EPRA adjusts the cost of 40% of cargo brought in during the April and May pricing cycle and include it in the next price review. The letter signed off by Martin Kimani, the chair of the Supply Coordination Committee, also seeks that EPRA excludes the 2 April price fuel in the next review and also craft measures to curb their losses. The move is set to buy marketers time to deplete their stocks before the authority lowers retail prices. This happens as global oil prices continue dropping as the commodities demand dip following decreased consumption. The Kenya Electricity Generating Company, KenGen, has shortlisted 5 bidders for the construction of the first phase of the Olkaria 4 power plant in Naivasha. The 140-megawatt project entails development of a geothermal power generation plant on a build, own, and operate and transfer basis. The successful bidder will enter into a joint venture with KenGen and will finance, construct, own and operate the power plant and the associated facilities and transfer the project back to KenGen at the end of the operational term. This will be the first public-private partnership project to be developed by KenGen under the PPP Act of 2013 and the PPP regulations of 2014. In the past, KenGen has financed its power projects through syndicated debt funding sourced primarily from multilateral and bilateral institutions, infrastructure bonds, own equity and state-to-state concessionary funding. This project is part of the national project to generate 560 megawatts of geothermal power and the public-private partnership framework. The income tax, value-added tax and sales levy tax cuts announced by President Uhuru Kenyatta in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic will be reversed. This is if Kenya agrees with the International Monetary Fund to reinstate the higher taxes. The fund says the cuts will cost Kenya Revenue Authority and compromise the state's ability to deal with emergencies. For an in-depth analysis of this and more business stories, get a copy of your Business Daily tomorrow. That's it from the Business Desk. More after the break.
NTV Business News in association with KCB Internet Banking.
We can always talk about your account online whenever you like.
Register at your nearest branch for KCB Internet Banking today.
It's in times of great difficulty that we should always give thanks to those who are there for us. So, to all our customers who have been there for their friends, their families, those in need, as well as us, we'd like to say thanks. Thanks for staying at home and staying connected. We've got you with an automatic upgrade on us. A little gift from our heart straight to yours.
Leo nimekaa kukukembesha Riang venye utastay safe mtaani, venye kama nuka na rada ni chafu. Riang ya kwanza mtu wangu, kunawa mikono. Hiyo ni sekunde palu, after umewada hapo, unatumia hiyo waba inatiririka. Namba mbekse ni social distancing. Lazima upige gedhugu, lazima mwili wako akue 1.5 meters kutoka kwako ama kitambekse. Rule number 3, kama huwezi kutulia kejani, dunga mask. Jeshi, pamoja tukomeshe corona.
Welcome back. The ad hoc committee on the COVID-19 situation in Kenya has today released their 5th report. This time, the progress report looked at the economic and financial issues affecting the country. Anita Nkonge has that report.
The ad hoc committee led by Senator Johnson Sakaja released the report that analyzed key issues and concerns arising from the COVID-19 pandemic. Deliberating the issues with various stakeholders such as the National Treasury and the Kenya Bankers Association, the committee recommended that the National Treasury and County Treasuries are to submit monthly income and expenditure reports to Parliament and their respective county assemblies. They said this would enhance accountability for disbursed monies and provide the oversight over the COVID-19 emergency funds, as well as other funds designated to the national and county governments. Job losses was an issue of concern, and the committee recommended that the government should consider pushing for fiscal stimulus packages. Other sectors impacted negatively by COVID-19, the committee noted, include agriculture and the manufacturing industry, amongst others. The agriculture sector has seen a reduction in export earnings and loss of income due to low global demand for agriculture exports, especially in horticulture such as tea and coffee. Initially, the projected preliminary growth for Kenya in 2020 was expected to decline to roughly 3%. If the extreme shock of COVID-19 persists, growth is likely to drop further to 2.5% as global demand remains weak. When it comes to counties, the payment of pending bills by county governments, according to the report, does not reflect business growth in their counties. Most of the said businesses are instead struggling with liquidity challenges to spur economic activities. The report also found that there is need for the government to put in place measures to cushion micro, small and medium enterprises and the Jua Kali businesses from the effect of the pandemic, as a high percentage of the population are employed in these sectors, leading to loss of livelihood. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
The 100 million shilling problem is seated at the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage door. The Kenya Association of Music Producers, the Performers' Rights Society of Kenya and the Music Copyright Society of Kenya have decried the government's distribution plan for the 100 million shillings for artists. The societies say they are the main bodies which represent artists and have been left out in the planning of the stimulus program.
Considering our mandate and membership, the CMOs are integral and have a fundamental role in facilitating the President's program herein in liaison with the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage. In conclusion, therefore, as CMOs, we feel to be the best placed institution through which these well-intentioned stimulus project aimed at assisting Kenyan artists should be implemented.
Concerns have been raised about the possible transmission of COVID-19 through various items, including Newspapers. The Nation Media Group has moved to affirm the public that they can interact with their dailies and not get infected. This is partly as a result of the strict measures that are adhered to in the entire process, from ensuring personal hygiene among the staff, sanitization of equipment, and all other points of contact between the printing plant to your hands.
My name is Gamlik Kuria, Dispatch and Logistics Manager, Nation Media. When people are coming to work, at the entrance point, we start by ensuring that each and every person has to wash their hands with soap at the entrance point. The second step is that everybody coming in is tested on his or her temperature to ensure that they have the required temperatures. Since they come with their personal masks, they are exchanged and they are given fresh masks before they enter to their workstations. And we make sure that each and every person sanitizes before they also wear their gears to enter into their workplaces. We ensure that when they enter into their workstation at the mailroom, every person has to keep distance from each other, recommended distance, even when they are working and they are doing all their activities. We ensure that because several processes are automated, people only come into contact with the copies where necessary, and we make sure that anybody who is handling the copies handle them in a procedural manner. At the point of counting, we make sure that these guys or these counters use the recommended counting procedures. The copies are then packed and handed over to the delivery teams, our drivers, who again receive the copies from the mailroom team and make sure that, following the same procedures of sanitization, they handle the copies carefully and put them into the vehicle. But before they put the copies in the vehicle, we have the process of ensuring that our vehicles are disinfected properly immediately they get into the workstation. The first step is that we have the pump, which is used to spray all the vehicles at the point at a common point, so that each and every vehicle is assured of being free of any infection or any virus infection. At that point, the vehicles are driven to the loading bay, whereby the drivers do loading, and once they load the copies, they make sure that they sanitize themselves. At the point of delivery, when the drivers are delivering the copies, they make sure that when they are handing the copies, they make sure that the person they are handing to is also sanitized, and therefore we are assured our process is foolproof, and we are confident that our copies cannot spread coronavirus in any way.
Well, rest assured, grab your copy of the Daily Nation. We promoted them earlier, and the Business Daily. That's what you can expect on, of course, the headlines and also the Taifa Leo copy for your information and analysis of the stories that have developed so far. And on that point, to take a break, sports news is up next.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Credits to you if you stay at home. If you must shop online, use your NCBA credit card. Stay home. Stay safe.
Megan, come on, don't Josh. Guys, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. John, the folks around here just don't understand your method of celebrating.
You really embarrassed the kids this time.
Are you embarrassed? I can't help it. I mean, when I feel the spirit, it just flows out of me.
Now, how embarrassing is this?
Anybody play basketball? I'm not Jehovah's Witness, okay?
Hallelujah! Put your hands together. Let me know that God will answer when you call him. You just need to open up your mouth.
A secure place for your family. You can get all this and more at Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Welcome to the sports now. The Nairobi Athletics meeting, a leg of the inaugural 2020 World Athletics Continental Tour, will be staged on the 26th of September. World Athletics postponed the meeting, originally scheduled for May 2nd due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Nairobi meet was initially supposed to open the season, but will now be the last event on the calendar. Instead, the season will start on the 20th of August in Hungary. The World Athletics Continental Tour is an annual series of the elite track and field competitions formed by the governing body in 2019. The tour forms the second tier of the international one-day meetings after the Diamond League and will feature events removed from the league, most notably the 200 meters, 3,000 meters steeplechase and triple jump. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Kenyan Women's Premier League side Wadadi FC's story is one of reinvention. The football club, whose mother company helps victims of fistula disorder and sexual abuse, has now turned to manufacturing face masks in the COVID-19 pandemic. In the midst of this, the team looks ahead despite cancellation of a promising season. Gabriel Kudaka with that story.
Monica Odato's day starts at 6 in the morning. A firstborn in a family of 5, her childhood prepared her for leadership, a trait she applies as captain of Kenyan Women's Premier League side, Wadadi FC. With women's football not professionalized in Kenya, Odato is forced to juggle her passion with other income-generating activities.
Pia kuna maisha mbali na football. Tumelelewa differently, nimefunzwa kulima, naweza fanya kazi zozote.
The team captain has to ensure she clears her domestic duties first before joining her colleagues in the making and distribution of face masks to the needy.
And we have given them different roles to be able to do. So you'll find one group will be able to report and it will go straight to the production. And then we'll have another group that will be going out actually to distribute the masks to the families that have already been identified to be very needy. And we have a team that goes out at the household level just to give sensitization on the COVID prevention.
Unaweka vizuri na make sure inafunika mapua na mdomo.
Kwa sababu sisi tunaenda ufulie mtu ndio upate pesa ndio ununue chakula. Sasa vile wamefunga hakuna kutoka. Sasa hatukuwa na uwezo ya kupata hii mask.
The dream doesn't stop for Odato, who also turns out for the Harambee Starlets as the second goalkeeper.
We have the WhatsApp group for the team. Whatever they're doing here, we are going to send it to the other group so that also they can work out where they are.
Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, the 23-year-old had just come back from her second international assignment, the Turkish Women's Cup. She also took part in the Olympics qualifiers in 2019.
Tuliporudi, tulikuwa na matarajio makuu kurudi kwenye camp ili kuprepare for the Elcon yenye ilikuwa iko host Tanzania.
The unprecedented COVID-19 times have meant adapting to the new norm while hoping that the actions of today will benefit the results of tomorrow. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV Sports.
Well done to the Wadadia FC's initiative, still scoring even though not on the pitch. Four-time Formula One world champion Sebastian Vettel will leave Ferrari at the end of the season. Vettel, who's won 14 races with Ferrari and 53 overall in his career, said financial considerations played no role in his decision. Yet it had been widely reported that Ferrari had offered him only a one-year contract extension at a significantly reduced salary. The German dominated F1 with Red Bull before switching to Ferrari Ferrari in 2015. Vettel had been under pressure from the strong performance of the teammate Charles Leclerc in the 2019 season. The coronavirus pandemic has wiped away the start of the 2020 F1 season, with 10 races either cancelled or postponed.
And spoke of a mutual realization between himself and Ferrari that there is no longer...
Real Madrid players are back in training at the club's grounds ahead of the planned resumption of La Liga next month. Madrid were one of the first clubs to go into quarantine after a basketball player tested positive for coronavirus on March 12th, the same day La Liga suspended all competitive fixtures. Eden Hazard was among those in training, the Belgian returning after undergoing surgery on his right foot in the United States on March 5th. La Liga President Javier Tebas said the remaining 11 rounds of matches would be played over 35 days with fixtures on every day over that period. And that's it from the sports desk, and indeed marking the end of NTV Tonight. Thank you for watching, and thank you to David Agondoa for the sign language interpretation. Have yourself a good night.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
This is NTV.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Kamiredo Herbs tunatibu magonjwa kama vile magonjwa ya viungo, vidonda vya tumbo, kupanda damu, magonjwa ya zinaa, saratani stage ya kwanza, kukosa kinga mwilini, kifua kikuu, figo, kidney dysfunction, kisukari, low libido, infertility, ovarian cyst, fibroids na blocked fallopian tubes. Kamiredo Herbs tunapima typhoid, urinalysis. Nambari yetu ya simu ni 0722 84 83 80.
Digital disruption, cybersecurity, agile working, big data, artificial intelligence. COVID-19 has pushed stakeholders into rethinking and fast-tracking the role of technology in day-to-day life, from e-learning, e-commerce, e-delivery, e-banking to e-clinics. Innovation has become a matter of survival and not just a goal for the future. On Thursday, 14th May 2020, the Nation Media Group will hold a live virtual Nation Leadership Forum from 7:30 p.m. on NTV. It shall delve into the impact of COVID-19 on the technological transformation of various industries and what this acceleration means to a population that may not have all the tools to benefit from it. Nation Leadership Forum. Engaging society, impacting the nation.
Ian, come on, don't Josh. Guys, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. John, the folks around here just don't understand your method of celebrating.
You really embarrassed the kids this time.
Are you embarrassed? I can't help it. I mean, when I feel the spirit, it just flows out of me.
Now, how embarrassing is this?
Anybody play basketball? I'm not Jehovah's Witness, okay?
Hallelujah! Put your hands together. Let me know that God will answer when you call him. You just need to open up your mouth.
secure place for your family. You can get all this and more at Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
NTV, turning on your world. The following program has been rated PG. It may contain scenes unsuitable for children under the age of 10.